Well, we welcome you to Baseball Night in America on an absolutely spectacular night for baseball in the great Pacific Northwest. The Seattle Mariners and the Chicago Cubs. They get set for the middle game of this three-game series. Hardly a team hotter than the Cubs. Meanwhile, the Mariners trying to claw their way back to the top of the American League West standings. The series began last night. It was a back-and-forth affair. Extra innings were forced. And then Leo Rivas, who did not start the game, comes up with a walk-off base hit to center field, and the Mariners take down the Cubs 6-5 in the final score. Cubs right now 6.5 games outside of the Brew Crew, but they are the top National League wildcard team. Meanwhile, the Mariners 4 games back of their arch rival Houston Astros atop the division. All eyes in the baseball world on T-Mobile Park today. Young Cade Anderson, the number 5 overall prospect, the game's top pitching prospect, taken 3rd overall out of LSU last season by the Mariners, getting set to make his major league debut today underneath this Seattle sunshine. It's great to have you with us as always. Aaron Goldsmith alongside the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. John, this is as anticipated of a starting pitcher debut as we can remember in recent years.
Yeah, if this is anything like the past, the big leaguers will say, what took you so long, kid? Well, he did his part in the minor leagues by dominating the minor leagues at a 12-1 clip. They had no offense against them, and they're hoping that same thing translates to the big leagues. He's going to be nervous, but he's just got to do what he's been doing, and that's been dominating. Now, he is going against a hot couple of offensive players for the Cubs, so he's going to have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, this is no soft landing for Cade Anderson. Not only are the Mariners trying to make a playoff push, but he is facing one of the hottest lineups in baseball, one of the best lineups against lefties this year, and it's headlined by maybe the National League MVP frontrunner in PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah, the Cubs do a good job of putting the ball in play, walking, and get on base, and it starts at the top. About 2 months ago, this guy took off. When he started back in the leadoff spot against the Cardinals, he has not looked back. The Cubs have not looked back. And he's dominated baseball, and he's making his name as the MVP frontrunner. And you think about what he's done, 25 home runs. Look what his teammates finally caught fire, and the Cubs are a viable team that can make a run deep into the postseason.
A deadly and deep lineup for Craig Counsell and the Chicago Cubs. It's a perfect day for baseball in Seattle. We've got a major league debut up on the mound. It's the Mariners, it's the Cubs, and it's coming up next on Fox. Moments ago, a trip out to the mound that Cade Anderson has never quite felt before. Getting set to make his major league debut. Family and friends here in attendance. Cade Anderson got to the ballpark yesterday, able to take in the day here in Seattle inside T-Mobile Park. And yeah, there's some nerves. Who's more nervous, the family section or number 13 right now? Here's what it's looked like for Cade Anderson in the minor leagues, who spent the year in Double-A Arkansas. A 1.06 ERA, and the strikeout to walks are something that even if you were great at video games, it'd be hard to achieve something like that.
Yeah, sure is. I mean, you can only imagine the sign of pitching in your big league debut is if you can spit, if you've got saliva. But there's the mix-up. He's got great arm action and obviously dominated the minor leagues. So the Cubs are going to get their first look at this really fine left-hander.
And his PCA swinging away at the first pitch that Cade Anderson throws in the show, and he's off to a nice start. Makes the catch, and there is a quick out, number 1. The Cubs starting lineup sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods. Here's what the rest of it looks like. Alex Bregman has been lights out on fire as of late. He has really caught his stride. And Bregman, a couple of home runs, including a 9th inning game-tying home run yesterday. Nico Horner has moved from second base to shortstop with the absence of Dansby Swanson on the IL. Seiya Suzuki batting second once again for the Cubs. DH with 22 home runs on the season. And what a wild game it was between these two teams last night. Mariners walking off in 10. Cubs had plenty of power. They had 4 home runs in last night's game, but finished 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. 1 ball and 1 strike to Suzuki.
Suzuki has done a number against left-handed pitchers, but again, getting your first look at a fresh guy with not really much to go on other than video from the minor leagues, and then the shadows coming into play.
Misses low at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the shadows will become very interesting for Cade Anderson. A great changeup, very good slider as well. Naylor racing over onto the warning track and can't make the play right there in front of the camera well. What has the day been like for Cade Anderson?
Oh man, you dream about it, and obviously going through college and getting to the minor leagues and putting in your work, you think it's going to be just like any other start, but the emotions, and if you got them, they're going to be rampant. And it's that walkout, it's the pregame workout, it's everything that you've tried to do to get ready for a start. It is different, and when you get the first out, it's great. When you get through the first inning, then you can be more normal in your start.
This ball laced out to right field and caught on the run. Dom Canzone covering some ground in right field for the Mariners. 2 outs.
And it works both ways. That when you see the young man getting outs like he's throwing strikes, it works 2 ways. The hitters don't know what he's going to do, and obviously the pitcher got all the intel on the hitters. He's just going to do what makes him feel comfortable until he has to adjust in game.
The crowd here in Seattle serenades Alex Bregman, the former Astro, as he climbs in. A couple of former LSU Tigers facing off against one another here. Anderson versus Bregman. Two 2-0. Anderson taken 3rd overall by the Mariners last year. Meanwhile, Alex Bregman spent 3 years in Baton Rouge, number 2 overall pick many years ago by the Astros.
Well, with the video I watched, getting a chance to see some highlights, great arm action, great release point, all the things you dream about if you're a left-handed pitcher. And going against one of the tough teams that facing left-handed pitcher, you're going to have to hit your spots to get them out.
Normally when we think about a major league debut for a starting pitcher in this era, it's the stuff, right? Yeah. It's triple-digit fastball, power, breaking stuff. That's not Cade Anderson's game.
No, but what you're seeing based on the evidence of stats is the hitters don't pick up the ball. So if you can't pick up the ball some guys throw 98, they get lit up because you can see the ball's flat. He has an arm angle and a release point that obviously works for him, that creates angles that hitters swing and miss.
2-2 coming to Bregman. Pulls this sharply down the line and foul.
It's an abbreviated windup. And you can see his hand position being on top of the ball, which creates great spin and great deception. You know, when you're looking for stuff, which the whole league is, they're looking for stuff and quantitative like spin rate and velocity. There's still a way to combat not having all of the top stuff by locating in and out, up, down. And that is going to be a hitter's nightmare. A hitter will find a way to match up 100-mile-an-hour fastball if you see it in the same area enough. But what he'll tell you is his nightmare is if you're changing speeds and changing locations, then he has so much more to worry about than a guy who's just dominant stuff that makes a mistake and gets hit.
Here comes another 2-2. He struck him out. Cade Anderson's first big league strikeout against a former LSU Tiger, Alex Bregman. That's a pretty good way to start your big league career. A 1-2-3 top of the first against the Chicago Cubs. The Mariners starting lineup sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods. Right as this game began, we word of a late lineup change. It was supposed to be Brendan Donovan leading things off. He was scratched just basically as this game began. That's when we found out about it. So Randy Arozarena, as a result, is leading off and in left field. Meanwhile, Weston Wilson, who was beginning the game on the bench, bats 8th and takes Donovan's spot at third base. They're all facing off against David Peterson, whose first pitch is cranked out of here. I guess that new look lineup all of a sudden is not so bad. Arozarena homers on the first pitch of the game the Mariners see.
Well, he's been one of the bright spots in an offense that has struggled mightily. And it's just simple formula for the Seattle Mariners. If they slug and score, they win because of their pitching.
Well, a pretty hot start for the Mariners between that and Cade Anderson's top of the first inning. Here's Dom Canzone having a breakout year for Seattle. The Trident making an early appearance inside that Mariners dugout. Canzone taps this softly. Tough play. Peterson scoops it out of the glove. Never touched it with his bare hand. Really impressive play by Peterson. Back to the home run by Arozarena.
Well, this is just simple first swing, and I'm going after it. Fastball right down the middle. No shadows and no defense needed on that one. Here's the guy that can be the equivalent of PCA for the Seattle Mariners, Julio Rodriguez.
Now PCA this year a 30-30 campaign, his second straight year doing that. Rodriguez has done that before as well. Pours a strike across, 1 ball and 1 strike. Now Rodriguez, if you look at this season earlier in the year, 10 home runs in the month of May, and at that point you were thinking he's a shoo-in for the All-Star game. It was the most home runs he had ever hit in any single month in his career, but really went ice cold after that, especially in the power department. Spent some time, unfortunately, on the concussion IL after taking a throw off the back of the helmet, running between first and second base. Last year, his 3rd time voted in as an All-Star, finished just outside the top 5 in the MVP vote. Skips a little rope. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now this is a Mariners team that has struggled offensively, last in baseball in runs per game coming into this one today, and they've got some big bats that they've been waiting to do some things that, well, Mariner fans are used to seeing. Gets tied up on a good pitch inside off the plate. 2 outs following that home run from Randy Arozarena. David Peterson, an All-Star last year with the Mets, now making his way to the Cubs and is now back in the rotation after a brief stay in the bullpen, but overall has pitched well for the Cubs.
Yeah, they need him to throw strikes. When he throws strikes, he's tough to hit. He's got that big frame, big lanky delivery, and he's tough to hit. But the problem is when he gets in trouble, the command becomes the issue. First pitch strikes, and then you see the splits on where he tries to get you out. It's all about repeating those mechanics, getting that foot down and planted for the timing of his hand and his arm to be in the slot that you want. That's why pitching can be complicated. You got to have everything working in the right direction.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. Two outs, nobody on. Strike 3 call. Naylor caught looking, and Peterson a 1-2-3 inning. But before that, Arozarena, a leadoff home run on the very first pitch he sees. So the Mariners off to a good start in this one. They lead the Cubs after an inning.
done.
IndyCar races through the heart of Washington, D.C., celebrating America's 250th. The Freedom 250 coverage begins tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, only on Fox. Michael Busch leads it off for the Cubs. I'd say if you're Kate Anderson, this game has gotten off to about the perfect start.
Yeah, it sure has. He doesn't look nervous at all, and certainly making pitches early on and only be in there for about 80 or so pitches. That's the most he's thrown throughout the year. So 5 or 6 would be an unbelievable job for the young man starting at home. I always thought it was fun to start at home and get a good look of where you're hoping going to be most of your career. And beautiful day, sold out. So he'll never forget it. I promise you that.
Just a perfect setting for a big league ball game, especially if you're making your major league debut. Busch goes around Cal Raleigh. A long throw to first base, and the second strikeout today for Kate Anderson.
Everything about his pitches come out of the same slot, and you could see the tight break and the hitter's having a hard time picking it up out of his hand. Ball comes out from almost behind his head. It's a good thing and a bad thing with that. The good thing is the hitters don't see it. The bad thing is you're going to have a strong shoulder to do that for a long time.
Seeing a lefty on the mound to start a game for the Mariners is a rare sight. This has been a right-handed dominated rotation since the beginning of 2024. Today marks only the second start by a lefty by the Mariners. And the other one was just a spot start by Jonathan Diaz. This has been a right-hand heavy, to say the least, rotation for Seattle, and one of the best rotations in baseball in that time frame as well. So a lone lefty now joins the mix.
Well, each hitter that goes up to the plate is going back to communicate whatever they can to their guys further down in the lineup, to just give them any cues they can to what they see or what they've noticed. So far, what I've noticed is no two pitches have been in the same area. It seems like he's going in, then he'll go out, he'll go up, then he'll go down.
And misses high and away to Tyrone Taylor, getting the start today in right field for Chicago. Taylor came over with Clay Holmes at the deadline from the Mets. Just his 12th game with the Cubs. 3-1. Misses down and in. A 2-out walk. The Cubs have their first base runner today.
When you get to see the arm, it comes out of his hand, and the hitter are locating anything they can pick up to tip them off about anything that a pitcher gives away. And all new information they're processing here early on.
Pedro Ramirez takes inside for ball 1. Can a pitcher become more deceptive in his delivery, or is there little room on the margins to improve with what is your delivery?
Well, you know, it's the new philosophy is to simplify everybody and try to get him out of a stretch. He has a stretch / windup, but it's no windup. So they're seeing everything the same. It's one reason why I don't understand why more pitchers don't pitch out of the windup, because that is your deception. That's the diversion.
Oh, another sword there, and some indecision by Ramirez.
But what they've done is, you see another breaking ball here. Good one. Downer. They've simplified everybody's max effort kind of philosophy out of the stretch to just have the mechanics more repeatable than have more moving parts out of the windup.
Here comes the 1-2.
It's interesting. Maddox was so good in every aspect of the game and certainly had the best mechanics in baseball. He would pitch out of the windup, but his bullpens would be pitching out of the stretch because that's where all the big pitches he was going to make with runners on. And that makes total sense. But if they let you pitch out of the windup, there's a reason why that should be an advantage. And nowadays, that's just a little bit more of a lost art.
2 outs and a man aboard. The 2-2. Challenge coming here.
Catcher challenging the call ball.
Cal Raleigh challenging, thinking that this should end the inning.
Call confirmed. Seattle's 1 challenge remaining.
And that was well off the plate. Mariners have 1 challenge left. Back-to-back 3-ball counts from Cade Anderson. He struck him out. That's a nasty back foot slider. Anderson's 3rd strikeout, a couple of scoreless innings in his major league debut.
My moderate to severe.
So the game, you can bid on game used jerseys, baseballs, bases, and more at auctions.mlb.com. Taylor Ward leads off the Mariners' 2nd inning. Mariners leading 1-0 on a Randy Arozarena homer on the first pitch thrown today by David Peterson. Mariners are in a tough spot in terms of facing lefties. They have really struggled this year against left-handed pitching, and today marks day 3 of 4 straight games facing a southpaw starting pitcher. Every game of this Cubs series. And for Dan Wilson's ball club, it has been an issue. They tried to address that at the deadline. They acquired one of the top right-handed bats available, Taylor Ward, coming over from Baltimore.
You don't see that very often. You don't see 4 in a row. That's an oddity.
You know, in some ways, the Mariners are very familiar with Ward. All the years in the division with the Angels, he had 36 home runs last year for the Halos, but he is a wildly different hitter this season. He's gone from a power slug guy to a never chase draw ball 4 kind of guy. He's really flipped his profile from last year to this. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Takes off the plate. At the time that he was acquired at the deadline by the Mariners, he had the lowest chase rate in baseball. He simply does not expand the strike zone very much at all.
Well, and that's some of the problems that the Mariners run into, especially when they get runners on. They chase a lot and strike out a lot. That's part of the offense that has not clicked. And much like this streaky baseball season, they're 10 days away from being in first place.
Yes,
just like a lot of other teams going on a 10-game winning streak.
Time call. In play out to PCA in center field, fighting the sun a little bit with that glove. Makes the catch. Long at bat. Ins and out number 1. Today's Fisher Investments player profile. We say hello to Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh. Last year, a historic season. You remember it. The 60 home runs, finished 2nd in the MVP vote to Aaron Judge. This year, much different story. Has spent time on the injured list for the first time in his career, but the OPS drop-off, it's the largest slide since Big Mac in 2000 to 2001.
Yeah, this is it's hard to fathom you could be one of the most historically greatest seasons ever to not knowing where you're at. And it really comes down to the fastball.
Hits that hard on the ground, and a base hit into left field for Cal Raleigh.
But again, those two stars in this lineup, if they get hot at the right time, everything will be forgotten. That year that he had last year came also close to a World Series appearance. But if he gets hot this year in the last month and they get back to the playoffs, no one will even remember the 150-something.
He's aboard at first base for Cole Young, one away. Well, you're mentioning the fastball. The Mariners have not hit the fastball well this year, and Cal Raleigh in particular. As a pitcher, if you know a guy can't stay on the heater, what does that do for your mindset?
Well, it opens up a lot of, well, for me, I had to eliminate the he's due factor. I had to convince myself that that's the lane I need to go to. But, you know, sooner or later, sometimes you think too much as a pitcher, and you go, well, he's struggling on the heater, so he's looking for the heater. But if he can't hit the heater, you have to make that be the quota that you fulfill. And I think I learned that in my third year. If somebody's struggling on something, let them show you they're coming out of it versus you trying to out-trick them.
Weston Wilson was not scheduled to start this game, but he's in the lineup batting eighth and manning third base. Brendan Donovan was set to lead off and play the hot corner today for the Mariners, but a very late scratch. We've not been given reasons why, but Donovan is out of the lineup, so here is Weston Wilson.
Yeah, I had a couple fears that I wouldn't tell anybody, and I could tell them now when I was on the mound. I feared the guy 0 for 20 because he's due in my mind. I'd rather face the guy 10 for.
You want to face PCA?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, maybe in the playoffs, no, but in a regular season game, that's the way I was like, man, this guy's 0 for 20. Like, I don't want to be the guy that gives up the hit.
Well, we were just getting word from the Mariners clubhouse that Brendan Donovan was hit in the head by a baseball in the batting cages prior to the game and is currently being evaluated.
Oh, man, boy.
Hopefully he is all right. He has really started to swing it well. He's been moved to the leadoff spot for the Mariners. It's like he's gotten his timing back after missing so much time on the IL. You know, the hands, a weak ground ball. Peterson off the bag and a strong throw to first base. Strands that Cal Raleigh single. After 2 innings in Seattle, the Mariners leading the Cubs 1-0. Mariners in front 1-0 beginning the top of the third. Glorious day here in Seattle. Sun out, roof open. And the shadows very much in play today. Kevin Alcantara, number 8 hitting left fielder for the Cubs today, leads it off and looks at a first pitch strike from Cade Anderson. Well, Anderson has been the definition of a pitch mix so far today. 4 pitches, he's using all of them.
Yeah, he just hasn't thrown back-to-back pitches, at least fastballs in the same area, maybe breaking balls and trying to sweep it below the feet, but so far so good. I mean, I think when you're having a year like this, you don't care who you're facing.
A swing and a miss, and he overpowers Alcantara.
Started him off with a fastball, threw a breaking ball, and then climbed the ladder with a fastball up. Trusting his stuff and location, and a team that doesn't swing and miss too often as far as strikeouts go compared to walks. They're doing that at a high rate right now.
Second highest walk rate of any lineup in baseball, the Cubs. Very patient team. Do not chase much at all. High lift off the bat of Amaya. Arozarena is at the wall. He leaps, and Randy Arozarena just took a home run away. He climbs the fence in left field and takes a run off the board.
This is why every fence should be like this. I'm telling you, I would make a push to make every fence this height because it's one of the most exciting plays in all of baseball. And he did it. Wow.
Absolutely a tip to cap, Cade Anderson. Back to the top of the order. PCA takes up and in for ball one. So instead of a tie game, Mariners maintain a 1-0 lead. This is a Cubs team that has homered more than any other team in the month of August. In fact, they homered 4 times last night as a Rosarena pretty amped up after taking that one back, and the opposite reaction from Miguel Amaya. This is cued softly on the ground over to Cole Young. Man, it has been smooth sailing by and large for Cade Anderson with a little tip of the cap to his left fielder out there, taking one back for him.
Getting jiggy with it. AWS.
Mariners leading as Leo Rivas, who won it last night, walk-off base hit in the 10th, earned a spot in the starting lineup today for manager Dan Wilson. Leads it off. One ball and one strike. 9-1-2 for the Mariners. Mariners are at the very top in baseball in terms of percentage of runs scored via the home run. The Cubs are on the other side of that coin. They have allowed the highest percentage of runs via the homer this year. Craig Counsell's ball club, the pitching staff side of things, not a big strikeout staff, either the rotation or the bullpen. Peterson, one of the great ground ball pitchers since he's made his way into the big leagues.
And they were short on pitching till they went and got some of these trades, and they're waiting for some guys to get back. Desperately need him back.
All right, a cue a ground ball out to Ramirez. One down. 32 bites, one champion. Vote for the signature dish you would most like to try. Complete the Ballpark Bites bracket for a chance to win tickets and try these decadent bites at a stadium of your choice. MLB.com/bracket. Okay, so it's the 50th season of Seattle Mariners baseball, John. It's the 75th anniversary of the Washington State Ferries. Those beautiful boats chugging along Puget Sound. So a collaboration of sorts. And we have the Washington State Ferry fish and chips boat up in the booth. And this is your second one.
Yeah, I went in thinking it was chicken. I was mistaken. It's fish.
Chicken of the sea. Yeah, this has been a very hot item this year inside T-Mobile Park. Rosarena has hit a homer and robbed a home run.
Does that affect his WAR?
I think it does affect his WAR.
Do it?
Yes, I think hitting a home run positively affects your WAR.
What about saving a home run?
It can't hurt.
I heard it's not even a defensive run saved if you rob a home run.
It's not a defensive run saved.
Now see, that in and of itself, you lost me.
This is off the hands, but don't you think if that were the case, if that's how, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But imagine if you were the left fielder at Fenway Park. You'd have a massive disadvantage. You would never rob a home run.
No, but you could still get a defensive run saved by cutting off a double or catching a ball, you know, that would have scored a run. That's the most obvious defensive. The most obvious defensive run saved is right here. That is it.
It is literally a run save.
Yeah.
He robbed a home run.
And in the case of Fernando Tatis Jr.,
yeah,
4 runs saved on robbing a grand slam.
But don't you think that would, in some ways, credit? No, please.
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from on this.
Yes.
I'm walking into the Lions' den.
Yes.
It becomes incredibly circumstantial. right? You benefit from your pitcher putting 3 men on base.
But the same thing is you benefit from your pitcher giving up a ground ball in the hole so your shortstop can make a play that most other shortstops wouldn't. It's all predicated on the pitcher. That's why the defensive metrics for me is still something they can't really. They can get close, but how can a team go from the best defensive metrics team one year and the worst the next year, and they have the same personnel but different pitchers? It's because the pitchers give up harder contact than they did the year before and weren't throwing the ball where they wanted to.
Well, there's no doubt the pitching is the tone setter. There's a lot of fuzz around defensive metrics, and yet when you watch a team like the Cubs, they've committed the fewest errors. They have the highest defensive run save, the highest outs above average. They convert ground balls into outs at a really kind of a historic clip. Certainly better than any other team this year in baseball. I mean, the Cubs as a team this year are the identity of, what we see with our eyes and what the metrics say,
right.
It meshes.
And a big part of that is because most of their pitchers have contact hit off of them for their eyes to see their defense be in the play and not on their heels, because they do not strike out, as you mentioned, as many guys.
It's a defense that's taken a little bit of a hit. They are without Dansby Swanson for, they hope, no more than 4 weeks. So Nico Horner, who's a Gold Glover at second base, has now moved to shortstop in his absence. And of course, Pete Crow Armstrong, one of the very best defensively at any position out there in center field. 2-2.
That would be an out in banana ball. Great catch by the fan. We got to get that rule in the big league.
You know, you're in the midst of your second career, and it's going quite well, I would say. I'm excited for your third career.
And what would that be?
You'll be wearing yellow and a top hat. A swing and a miss. Elevated fastball from Peterson. Dom Canzone down on strikes. Third punch out for the Cubs starter today. Here is Julio Rodriguez. Strike poured across. 0-1. 19 home runs on the season for Rodriguez. Trying to hit 20 for his 5th straight year to begin his career. Well located slider down and in.
Of course, covering the playoffs last year and what was an exciting series, and getting to see the players up close, I still marvel how big he is. I mean, huge.
Ooh, close, safe over at first base. See if the Cubs want to take a look at this. No challenge coming from the Cubs. Rosarena gets back in time. 2 outs. He's aboard at first. A long hold by Peterson. A long stare at first base. And Rodriguez swings and misses over the top of a breaking ball. A couple of strikeouts in a scoreless third for David Peterson. After 3, Mariners have the lead. Kid Anderson, 3 scoreless innings so far. 1 walk and 4 strikeouts, making his major league debut. Number 3 overall pick in the draft by the Mariners last year out of LSU. Facing Seiya Suzuki, OPSing over 900 in the second half of the season. Looks at strike 1. This is a Cubs team 2nd in baseball in runs per game. They lead the majors in on base and have hit the 5th most homers. Ton of walks, ton of home runs. Looked like that might have gotten in on him a little bit. The sun might be a problem here. Maybe not. Could have fallen either way, I think. That lands for a base hit. Suzuki is aboard. Our Wendy's pitcher profile. We look at Cade Anderson making his major league debut today. A couple of seasons at LSU. He had Tommy John in high school, which delayed his college start. In 25, he was the College World Series most outstanding player. He was electric, and then taken 3rd overall by the Mariners. 18 starts this year in Double-A for the Arkansas Travelers, and making his debut today. There's Alex Bregman. You know, one thing that really stands out when you look at his numbers: an ERA just over 1, hardly a walk, over 100 strikeouts in Double-A ball. And it just felt like one week after another, it was one shutout outing after another for Cade Anderson. How he never lost focus in a league that he was clearly overmatching. He could have easily just punted on a week and got him bored.
Yeah, I think he's polished. I think he moves around on the mound. He moves the pitches around the plate. He's not confined to one or the other. And he's making the big league hitters look like the minor league hitters that he was facing, in the fact that they're confused, a lot of weak pop-ups and a lot of swing and miss. So it just shows you, if you know how to pitch, you know how to pitch. But if you know how to just rear back and chuck it, you can do that too. And we have plenty of that in the big leagues. But I love everything I'm seeing. You got a left-hander up. He's now moved over to the first base side of the rubber. He's creating angles. I've always wondered why more pitchers don't do it. They're creatures of habit. They plant in one spot and that's it. But now he's got an angle that works for him against lefties and an angle that works against righties, and he's not afraid to pitch off of both sides of the rubber.
So what's the benefit here of scooting over to the first base side against a lefty?
Well, the beautiful thing is he can now start his breaking ball at the hitter instead of starting it in the plate to break it away. And I've always said that if you're a right-handed pitcher with a sinker, you should be on the first base side of the rubber. If you're a right-handed pitcher with a really good breaking ball and slider, you should be on the third base side of the rubber with a ball that cuts. And the same thing for lefties. Most lefties, well, nowadays most lefties are throwing 95 miles an hour, so it's a little bit moot, but you can see what he's doing, and it doesn't bother him at all to move on different spots and land in different places because he's mechanically sound.
1-2. So it sounds like it's a harder thing than it sounds like on the surface level. I think people watching might say, well, just line up on that side or line up on that side, but it's more difficult than that. It
is, but we've dumbed it down. Like, you're not developing young pitchers to do anything but throw it as hard and as much as you can and spin it.
Strike 3 called. He froze him on a slider.
And so if you can teach somebody how to spin a baseball really hard and throw it really hard, that's all you need. You can't teach both in the command aspect and the location. So he's got a feel for pitching, and that feel has allowed him to move and be comfortable on both sides of the rubber. And that's maturity, and that's confidence, and that's mechanics.
Strike 1 to Nico Horner. Here's where he is against a right-handed hitter.
Yep, he's got the angles to a right-handed hitter, and then he's got the angles to a left-handed hitter. It's an absolute brilliant move. Now his changeup has the ability to look like it's coming out of a fastball lane that breaks away, instead of, if he's on the other side, think where he's got to start that changeup to break it away. He's got to start over the middle of the plate more.
Just got a piece, and Horner twisted up like a pretzel, stumbles to the ground. 1-2.
Now if he gets this guy to swing and miss, he's doing something, because he does not swing and miss very often.
Horner, one of the lowest strikeout rates in baseball. He's been red hot since the All-Star break. Fought it off the hands, trying to bust him in at 95.
Now, based on the way that he's been pitching, that fastball in, even though it beat him, he would probably go to a different pitch and a different location.
Check swing foul. And Suzuki was bolting to second base. .333 the average, and OPS of .631 in the first half since the All-Star break. Batting over .350 and .834 OPS. It's the highest average in the National League since the All-Star break. Another 1-2 on the ground. Leo Rivas at short, a little flip over to Cole Young to retire the side. 4 scoreless innings in the books in the major league debut of Cade Anderson. Score big on authentic gear at MLBshop.com. From official jerseys and memorabilia to hats and hoodies, we've got the season covered. Visit MLBshop.com, the official source for your favorite team gear. Josh Naylor leads it off. A swing and a miss. Only mistake that David Peterson has made in this game was the very first pitch that he threw. And a Rosarena leadoff home run, the 3rd of his career, and his first with the Mariners. This ball is just fair, and a slide tackle there by Bush behind the bag. He plays that very well, and Naylor is retired.
Okay, you've been doing this for a while, right? Nice real defensive play by the Cubs. How many times have you seen a first pitch, or for that matter, first hitter home run, and that's it? Oh, yeah. I'm into where you're going with that. It's happened, and I've seen it. You're telling me a 1-0 win on a first pitch leadoff homer? Yeah. This is cued on the ground over to Nico Horner. Pumps a throw over. Now this is what it was like the very first pitch of the ball game from Peterson to Randy Rosarena, who by the way was not originally in the lineup as the leadoff hitter, but a late scratch to Brendan Donovan put a Rosarena at the top of the order, and has worked out pretty well. Now, is there a game that comes to mind that you actually are thinking of? Yeah, there's a couple, but I know like Charlie Lebrand, way back machine. He had given off a leadoff home run. Not sure if it was the first pitch, but lost that game 1-0. But there's been a few. Now the caveat's going to be where my crazy brain's going is the guy who hit the leadoff home run first pitch and then robbed a home run to preserve the 1-0. I think that's going to be epic, and the first time only. I think we've filtered it down to a very narrow search result. Well, it brings me into when we were talking about what is the definition of a quality at bat, and there was like 68 different scenarios. So I was listening, you were talking. Yes, I'm with you. We can create our own scenarios. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cal Raleigh with 2 outs. Now I thought maybe when you brought this up that you were possibly, unfortunately, on the downside of one of these such games. I could have been. I tend to try to forget those. That's what we're here for. Lose enough 1-0 games. As a pitcher, it's like not fun. But first pitch, it probably happened, I would say, under 5 times in the history of baseball. A 1-0 game on a first pitch. This is my guess. Yeah, no, I think it's fair. With no knowledge behind it whatsoever, which is usually what I do on a daily basis. This ball is ripped foul off the bat of Raleigh. 2 outs, 2 strikes. The Charlie Lebrand game, August 7th, 1991. Darren Lewis, a leadoff home run on the second pitch. And the game ended 1-0. So close. Rosarena looking, maybe watching that home run robbery with Danny Farquhar, former big league reliever, now Mariners coach. Maybe looking at the home run. Maybe both. Kevin Zeitzer's into it. But Kevin Zeitzer's really into it. Mariners hitting coach. Does he go? No, he does not.
2-out walk drawn by Cal Raleigh. Second walk today issued by Peterson. The Cubs have really been decimated by injury amongst their pitching staff, and they were busy adding Kevin Gausman coming over at the deadline from Toronto. Clay Holmes, two-time All-Star, having a good year, and of course David Peterson coming over as well, both from the Mets. So the Cubs trying to figure things out as they try to get a little healthier up on the bump. Ben Brown is somebody that they are especially eager to get back, a guy who began the year in the bullpen and then actually was the beneficiary of so many injuries in the rotation. He moved to the rotation and was lights out. 8 starts, a 1.70 ERA, but a neck issue, and he is currently sidelined.
Yeah, great arm they're hoping to get back. I mean, that's the power arm they're missing in the front of their rotation.
On the ground over to second base. Ramirez is right there. And more ground ball outs for David Peterson, who strands that 2-out walk. Randy Arozarena has hit a homer. He's robbed a homer, and Cade Anderson in his major league debut. 5 strikeouts over 4 scoreless.
What causes it?
Today's telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, a grand slam for your budget. Now the great Rick Rizzs, 41 seasons behind the mic for the Seattle Mariners. There is Rick. His final season, and announced not long ago that he will be inducted into the Mariners Hall of Fame next season. Pacific Northwest legend Rick Rizzs in his final year behind the microphone for the M's. And in a year where the Mariners are celebrating 50 seasons, Rick Rizzs has seen most of them. Tyrone Taylor leading things off. He's a Chicago guy. Grew up listening to Jack Brickhouse. Was a fan of both the White Sox and the Cubs. That's how nice of a guy Rick Rizzs is. Likes everybody. Taylor pops it up foul out of play. Two and two. Anderson has sat down 12 of the first 14 that he's faced. He's walked one and given up a bloop single.
Yeah, there's not a lot of hard contact, which tells you a lot about this makeup and the pitches and where they're located. Off the barrel of the bat.
One hard hit ball so far for the Cubs. That was the Miguel Amaya near homer that was robbed by Arozarena in left field. 3-2. It's low for ball 4. So Taylor walks for the second time. That's how the 5th inning begins. I mean, he does seem like Anderson, that is, a guy who profiles as, with as much as he changes speeds, as much as he can locate, just a guy who will avoid the hard contact.
Yeah, for sure. And again, he shown me a lot already in just a short period of seeing him live, having a great feel for the game and pitching. Now he's got a veteran catcher behind the plate that's going to help him navigate these hitters that he knows.
Cal Raleigh, the Platinum Glove winner a couple of years ago. Taylor taken off, and he slides into second base. Cubs trying to get something going. As they have a man in scoring position for the first time today.
Now this was all timing and information that had already been conveyed to the Cubs, meaning they knew where his mannerisms were on his delivery to home, and they took advantage of it.
The Cubs fans started to make some noise for the first time today as Cal Raleigh goes out. Keep in mind, this is a very new battery. Obviously, it's the debut for Cade Anderson, but Cal Raleigh missed most of spring training because of the WBC. And Cade Anderson did spend some time in big league camp, but they did not pair up all that often at all. As you look at the 5 strikeouts through 4 innings so far today for Cade Anderson.
Yeah, he's done it on a variety of pitches. Great changeup, great slider, good curveball, and a fastball. He's going to get a strikeout. So He definitely has the quadrants covered, which I love to see for a young pitcher.
Serena and Eric Anderson, his mom and dad, in the building today. 2-0. Bunt drop down. This ball is tiptoeing foul. Two and one. What's the effect of the shadows right now? You can see most of the infield is covered in shade, but the batter's eye bright with sun.
It should still be way better than it was a couple innings ago when you have that separation from light to dark. I think now it's a little bit more neutral. I pitched my share of games like this where I would literally go to the catcher and say, what are you having a hard time seeing? And he says, spin. I go, good, because that's what I'm throwing at. Because if you can't see it, the hitter can't see it. He goes, thanks a lot.
Nobody out, and Taylor at second base to tie and run. The 2-2. Full count.
A really good pitch and a really good take. Two things can be evident at once, and now when you got a 3-2 count here, you're betting the hitter wants to swing.
And he does. Hits it hard on the ground through the left side. That pushes Taylor into third. The Cubs making some noise. They've got runners on the corners. Hardest hit ball of the day so far for Chicago.
I think his first changeup he left over the plate. I wasn't for sure if it's a changeup, but it was over the plate and allowed the hitter to recognize it and pull it through the hole. Now here are the situations that I marvel in baseball. First and third, nobody out. All the pressure should be on the pitcher. But somehow in the style that baseball has played, the pressure goes on the hitter because he's trying to hit a 3-run homer. And I used to sit in the dugout going, especially late in the game, let's say this was the 7th inning, a ground ball to short and the game is tied. But nobody thinks like that, and they're trying to drive and get the multiple runs on the board with a big fly.
Fly ball drilled out towards right center field. Plenty deep. Canzone makes the catch. And Kevin Alcantara, a sacrifice fly, and the Cubs are on the board. It ties the game in the 5th inning.
But if you watch his reaction, he was mad going down the line and then realized, okay, that tied the game up. He did his job. Yes, you want to get a hit, but this is good hitting. Pitch away. He hits it off the end of the bat, and you're going to see him get angry because this is what I'm talking about. He just tied the game. So he did a good thing.
Somebody should tell him that. Amaya, a tricky hop. Wilson over to second. Young on to first base. They go around the horn. That looked like the Cubs right there. 5-4-3. A really slick double play started by Weston Wilson.
In the movie of your life.
Go all in on game nights with MLB Plus. You can stream MLB Network 24/7 in the U.S. Select out-of-market games every week, plus live radio broadcasts of every game. Game day 3D, big inning, and minor league action. You can visit MLB.com/MLB Plus to subscribe today. Here's Weston Wilson, who started that nice 5-4-3 double play turned by the Mariners to end the top half of the inning. Eight, 9, and 1 due up for Seattle. A check swing, and he goes. 2-1. Bullpen pretty quiet right now for Seattle. Anderson has not thrown more than 80 pitches in a game this year. He's at 72. This ball is into right field. Opposite field knock for Weston Wilson. And a rare ball in play that was not on the ground today from David Peterson.
Yeah, he throws that heavy sinker, and that one just stayed in the middle of the plate. He's going to try to induce something on the ground here, unless there's a bunt attempt.
Bregman's getting ready for it. He creeps in a little bit on the grass over at third. Leo Rivas, the batter, first to move over that way to first base.
All that throw was is to see if his hands changed on the bat. Looked like he was getting ready to, but you throw over to first to see if the hitter gives anything away.
He squares. Brushes him back up and in, and Rivas is shaking his hand. He does not go on the bunt attempt. He's hit by the pitch and will take first base, and Craig Counsell comes out quick.
Yeah, I didn't think live that was a hit by pitch, but he bunted at the ball. That's going to be an attempt, and that's what Counsell's saying. If you attempt to bunt at that ball, even if you get hit, it's like trying to swing and get hit.
Clearly hit on the hand by that pitch, as Rivas is still down on top of home plate being tended to. Craig Counsell was ejected from last night's game after arguing a balk call against Matthew Boyd. And Craig Counsell celebrated his birthday inside the visiting clubhouse manager's office here at T-Mobile Park. So the Mariners with something going for the top of the order. Since Peterson debuted, former first-round draft pick by the Mets, he has one of the highest ground ball rates in baseball. 5th highest ground ball rate of all starting pitchers. I would love something like that right here. Rosarena at the plate. And Rosarena, a good runner, but does hit the ball on the ground quite a bit this year. Soft chopper. Bregman charges at third. Cut of the grass on the run to first base. Safe. He is safe. Rosarena beats it out using that speed. And the Mariners have the bases loaded.
Well, this is just great effort out of the box, knowing it's hit soft, that he could use his legs. It ends up like a line drive in the books. Perfect ability to hit the front of the bag.
Here comes Tommy Hotovy, Cubs pitching coach. Bags packed and nobody out. Tomorrow the NFL is back on Fox with a preseason showcase as the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Seahawks, who play just right across the street, take on the Titans. It all kicks off 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Fox. Now, what a season it was for the Seahawks last year, and Sam Darnold, his first season in Seattle. Mike McDonald hoisting the Lombardi and the parade that followed. Well, the Mariners have a real chance to take the lead and open this one up a little bit. Dom Canzone at the plate. On the ground, weakly struck. Ramirez has it. Little flip. Horner on to first base. Not in time. It was a little bit wide of the bag for Bush. Weston Wilson scores. The Mariners take the lead.
Well, the Mariners are using their legs in this inning to hopefully put a crooked number up because 2 balls that were hit on the ground resulted in 2 runners beating a throw.
Nick Enzone beats that throw to first base, and Weston Wilson scores. Mariners back in front. Runners on the corners for Rodriguez.
Rodriguez is an aggressive hitter. He only sees about 3.5 pitches per at bat. So you know he's up there wanting to swing and do some damage.
Up and away, taken for a strike. He has struck out twice in his first 2 at-bats facing Peterson. Rivas, the runner at third base. Meanwhile, Canzone at first. He stays up and away, gets a swing and a miss that time. On a 1-2. Feels like a pretty clear location where Peterson is trying to stay against Rodriguez here.
Yeah, that one I think he tried to bury in and missed away, but that away part is where he hasn't touched the ball yet.
Missing down and in this time. One out, runners on the corners. A swing and a miss. Rodriguez strikes out for the 3rd time facing Peterson. He's had his number. This time a changeup puts him away.
Yeah, Way has just been no good for Rodriguez.
So 2 outs and 2 on for Josh Naylor. Good take, just a touch inside for ball 1. First full season in Seattle for Naylor, acquired last year at the deadline by the Mariners from the Diamondbacks, and was tremendous down the stretch for the Mariners. And signing a free agent contract with Seattle this winter.
Giving him a big hole in shortstop side, but I think Naylor's looking for one of those sinkers he can pull in between first and second. On the pull side of the infield.
Takes low, 3-0.
Think we'll ever see a hitter on a 3-0 pitch? They called a ball, but he wants it to be a strike, and he challenged it so he can still hit.
I don't think so.
Like right there.
Yeah.
No, it'd have to be a ball. Well, we've seen a hitter lose two challenges in 2 consecutive pitches.
That has happened. Three and 1 the count to Naylor. Who calls for time? Now, Cade Anderson, will he pitch the 6th? Has held the Cubs to 1 run so far, over 5 in his major league debut. 3-1. He was swinging for it all. Carlos Vargas is warming up inside the Mariners bullpen, just activated from the injured list. He's missed the entire year. What will Dan Wilson do? 2 outs, 2 on, and a 3-2. Swing and a miss. Peterson gets a big punch out and limits the damage. The bases loaded and nobody out of this inning, and holds the Mariners to just a run. Mariners take the lead back for Cade Anderson out of the 6th. Cade Anderson back out there for the sixth. This is the third time through the order facing PCAs. Held him 0 for 2 so far. Anderson has been on a strict pitch count in the minor leagues. Has not eclipsed 80 pitches in a start this year.
I would say he's out there until a runner gets on. I don't think they'll put him in a situation to give up the lead. He's done a great job so far, and of course left-handed hitter in PCA.
Mom and dad in the house tonight. Top pitching prospect, their son making his major league debut. PCA rips one deep right field, and this is off the wall. He just missed a game-tying homer. He settles for a stand-up double.
One of the rare location misses. This ball's supposed to be away, and it's pretty much down the middle, and he knew it. But the good thing for him is this ball hits the top of the wall, I believe, and stays in.
And how close was this? Wow, off the yellow. And Dan Wilson is sticking with Cade Anderson.
All right.
He's got the right-handed reliever warming up in the bullpen in Vargas. You've got a couple of righties here, Suzuki and then Bregman. Third look from all these Cubs hitters, for all these Cubs hitters against Anderson. A strike.
I personally love it. I can understand why. More times than not, they would have taken him out here and protect him against getting a loss. But I love the fact that he's letting him in here and seeing what he could do with that tying run on second.
Now, this is the thing about Anderson's arrival to Seattle. Well, the Mariners are trying to win a division. They're 4 games back of the Astros, so this is not a welcome to the big leagues. Let's have you develop a little bit here, and we're going to put you in some tough situations to see how you respond. Mariners are trying to win every game they can.
Yeah, they got to get on a run.
Almost threw the bat at it. Weston Wilson back a half step, pumps a heater across, and PCA tagged and out at second base. Wow! A throw from Naylor to second, and PCA was too far off the block. And he gets the tag put on him, and he is out.
Yeah, this is a rare big mistake by one of the best players on the Cubs. His wheels spin right about here, and then now he's like, uh-oh.
Here's Bregman. Bregman fly ball gap left center field. Alex Bregman has homered again. 2 home runs in last night's game and a homer here in the 6th inning to tie the game at 2. He has been hot as a rocket.
Well, that's a big pick-me-up for your teammate when you make a mistake on the bases in a scoring position. To put a point on the board after that is huge.
And now Bush, he blasts this ball. Bush leaves the yard. The Cubs go back to back. It's a 3-2 Chicago lead. No team has homered more this month than the Cubs. Cade Anderson facing this lineup the 3rd time through, and Bregman and Bush take him deep, back to back, to flip the script and give the Cubs a 3-2 lead in the 6th inning. They stayed with Cade Anderson. And Bregman and Bush make them pay. A terrific debut nonetheless.
Yeah, sure was.
A standing ovation for the top pitching prospect in the game, Cade Anderson, making his major league debut.
Excuse me.
Carlos Vargas making his season debut. Has missed the entire year because of a lat injury. Just activated off the IL. Nico Horner, a firm bunt, foul. Now there's going to be a lot of questions asked about this sixth inning and what transpired. Vargas had been warming during the entire bottom half of the fifth. He certainly appeared to be ready when this inning began. And an inning that's had a little bit of everything. A near home run, an incredible double play, and then back-to-back homers, Bregman and Bush, to take the lead for the Cubs. And of course the key to all this, the third time through the order for Cade Anderson. 0-2.
Well, again, that pitch catches the middle part. And you know that feeling is not what he was hoping for as he got that unbelievable double play.
And that's the final line for Cade Anderson, 5 2/3. This is slapped into right field and fair for a base hit. Horner, who's been hot, he steams into second base, a stand-up double. That's the fourth extra base hit for the Cubs this inning.
Well, when the Cubs get 5 or more extra base hits, their record's pretty good, as you can imagine. They do a good job, as you talked about, hitting the long ball when it comes to winning games.
Anderson just a spectator at this point. First pitch, strike to Taylor, who's walked twice. Now the shame of it all too is through 5 innings he was spinning an absolute beauty, and then he runs into Bregman and Bush in this 6th inning, and now it feels much different for the Mariners' top prospect. And you look at this Cubs team, this is not a surprise when you look at what's happened this inning. 36 home runs this month. Leads the major leagues, the outlier leader. And we saw Bregman hit 2 last night.
And you know where they've been the best? They've been the best with hitting homers with runners on base. And that's how you get damage done. And that's how you score a lot of runs.
Taylor into left field, fair ball, and it's a ground rule double. It scores Horner. So another extra base hit. That's the 5th this inning for Chicago. For 2 Cubs.
With 33 and 2. When they get 5 or more extra base hits.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Took me a while to find it. I knew I saw it.
Oh, 2. Pedro Ramirez having a really nice start to his big league career. Every game so meaningful for Seattle. 4 games back of the Astros. They will have one more head-to-head series with Houston. A rare 2-game set in Seattle in September. Mariners have the tiebreaker locked up over Houston. The Rangers have the tiebreaker locked up over the Mariners. Rangers right now just one game outside of first. 1-2. A 3 spot for the Cubs here in the 6th inning. Shot to center. Rodriguez going back quickly, now settling in front of the track to make the catch. Cade Anderson, a mix of emotions today. Brilliant through 5. Back-to-back homers in the 6th. They stayed with the rookie, and the Cubs make him pay. Chicago in front.
If you have much.
Now Bryce Miller, tomorrow's starter for the Mariners, alongside Brian Wu. Consoling today's starting pitcher, Cade Anderson, making his big league debut. Not in the way that he certainly wanted it to. Cubs now lead at 4-2. It was Brian Wu, who you see on the left there, who was scheduled to start today for the Mariners, but Wu needing an extra day, or apparently more than one day. He has been bumped out of this series, and it was because of his needing an extra day or two that Cade Anderson was called up. And you can see Logan Gilbert with a pat on the back. Taylor Ward leading things off as David Peterson now pitching with the lead. At the knees for a strike. 1-2. Full count to Ward.
These are situations when your team gets you that big run lead, you've got to get the first guy to hit the ball and not provide them with a walk.
Strike 3 called right over the plate. Ward may be looking for something else. That's 3 straight punch outs for Peterson dating back to the 5th. 91 pitches for Peterson now. And an old friend for Mariner fans, Trent Thornton, now with the Cubs, getting loose inside Chicago's bullpen. Cal Raleigh at the plate now. Peterson season high 97 pitches. That was on the first day of the month against the Yankees. Hit hard behind the back fair. Bregman circles around it and is able to make a dazzling throw to first base to take a hit away from Cal Raleigh. Alex Bregman getting it done everywhere today.
Well, 2 things on this play. 1, getting to the ball, and then 2, recognizing who's running. That gives him extra time to gather himself. Once he gets it, he takes his time and he throws the ball and what's going to be on plane and a better hop, so it doesn't catch him in between. So that's recognizing the runner and recognizing what you have to do on the throw to get him out.
Incredible play. Oh, 1 to Cole Young. That brushes him back a little bit.
Is 97 pitches a lot?
To some it might be.
Oh, I just was wondering. He's doing a nice job mixing that sinker and throwing enough strikes. I'm telling you, David Peterson is so tough to hit when he is mixing his pitches in the strike zone and then getting him to chase. What do we got? 7 strikeouts?
7 punch outs for Peterson. And 2 strikes on Cole Young.
Normally I look over to whoever's doing play-by-play to make sure I'm right, but you got that thing so yeah, there's no way to find out.
We're just all interchangeable parts to you. Just whoever's over here.
I mean, can't even tell. You're share a little bit.
The 2-2 A swing and a miss. David Peterson matches a season high 8 strikeouts. Alex Bregman having himself a Saturday in Seattle. Big home run and an incredible play over at third base. Cubs lead it after 6. Top of the 7th, Cubs in front now. Ian Happ off the bench. Pinch hitting. Batting for Alcantara to begin the 7th inning for Chicago. Vargas back on the mound, making his season debut, just activated off the IL. Has missed the entire year because of a lat injury. Had a breakout season last year in the Mariners bullpen. A lot of movement on that 2-seamer. 5 2/3 for Cade Anderson in his major league debut.
Happ has really struggled with the fastball on 95 or above miles per hour. You would think he'd be sitting all over it right here, 3-1, to let it fly.
Well, that one runs away well outside the zone. A leadoff walk. Today's Good Hands play sponsored by Allstate as Miguel Amaya gets ready to bat. This is what happened his first time up in the 3rd inning. Looked like he hit this one out of here until Randy Arozarena showed up and took it back.
You know, all the years of shagging fly balls and robbing home runs, I can tell you his route efficiency was perfect. His mechanics were perfect.
Squares to bunt, fouls it back. This is John Smoltz, outfield instructor.
I've robbed over 150 home runs in my career and shag and fly balls. That's how I kept in shape.
Glavin, Maddox, Smoltz.
They never did any of that.
No, I don't think so. 0-2.
Yeah, you just got to break it down and looking at everything he did. They said, yeah, right, absolutely.
Danny Farquhar saying it's just like this guy, this old guy, John Smoltz, I remember watching.
Best part about it in BP, I would let the hitter know. Do some push-ups. You know, I'd start screaming.
Oh, 2. What would have been the 6th home run this year for Amaya. A wave and a miss as that slider just disappeared. One away. Well, this is hot dogs from heaven in between commercial break. And John,
I gotta get rehab now on my shoulder.
You started going double barrel. You were throwing 2 at a time.
Yeah, because I didn't want to throw as many as that were in there. limit my throws, man.
You got a pitch count.
97's a lot.
So I've heard. Yeah, John had no idea what was in this hot box.
None. I didn't know what I was throwing out.
He didn't care. Just going along with the crowd.
Just following what you were doing.
Hot dogs from heaven, a real sensation here in Seattle that they do every so often. Warmed hot dogs with a mustard and a ketchup pack inside, attached to a customized, obviously, parachute that they chuck from the 200 level or occasionally from the TV booth.
Wow.
And now you can say you were a part of it. Kind of. I mean, with some groans along the way, obviously.
I tell you what, every shoot, it was perfect. I thought there'd be a couple duds in there that just came. The chute opened up every time.
Elite engineering. PCA fly ball straight away center field. Right to his counterpart Rodriguez makes the catch. 2 down. IndyCar races through the heart of Washington, D.C., celebrating America's 250th. The Freedom 250 coverage begins tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, only on Fox. Very cool stuff there. 2 outs and a man aboard for Seiya Suzuki. Now the big inning for the Cubs, the 6th. A 3-run frame highlighted by 2 homers back-to-back, in fact, Bregman and Bush, and 3 doubles.
After a man on second, nobody out. That guy got eliminated.
Yes.
That's the crazy part about the inning.
Yeah, it felt like the Mariners, I mean, didn't feel like they did. They caught a really great break. That's not to take anything away from their execution defensively, but they were able to catch PCA off the bag at second base and throw him out for a very unique 5-3-4 double play. And here's a throw to first base, a little wide of the bag, and that might have cost him an out. Happ able to get back.
He was timing it, and then he didn't. But the throw, you know, you have the unique first baseman approach where he's in front of the bag to kind of shorten the throw, and then but the throw's got to be more towards the runner or it doesn't work.
Yeah, so the Mariners get that incredible double play to erase the double from PCA, which, by the way, was truly inches away from being a home run. It hit off the yellow padded line in right field at the very top of the wall. And the Mariners stuck with Anderson, and then Bregman and Bush went deep to tie and then take the lead. Meanwhile, Vargas was warmed up and ready to go in the bullpen. And what a series has been for Bregman. A couple of home runs yesterday, including the game-tying homer in the 9th inning. Swing and a miss. Man is left. An inning plus for Vargas in his season debut. Cubs lead it. Time to stretch. New pitcher on the mound for the Cubs, Trent Thornton, very familiar on this mound. Parts of 3 seasons for the Mariners, pitching out of their bullpen. His first season on the north side with the Cubs. So he takes over on the hill. Meanwhile, Ian Happ stays in the game and is in left field now. Cubs lead at 4-2, beginning the last of the 7th. Weston Wilson looks at a first pitch for a strike. Yeah, Thornton with the Mariners last year blew out his Achilles, now takes over for David Peterson in his first year with Chicago. Peterson excellent today, matched a season high 8 strikeouts, just the 2 runs. A wave and a miss, and it's 0-2. And remember, Peterson allowed a homer on the very first pitch that he threw in this game today. The leadoff home run by Arozarena. Settled in very well. Off the plate, 1-2 to Wilson.
The American League wild card race, you can't even scoreboard watch. I've heard a manager say, strike 3. I heard a manager say, I don't even know who to root for.
Yeah, it takes an algorithm to know who to root for when you look at the American League wild card right now. It's a muddy mess in the AL.
Rangers, who are ahead of the Mariners, are losing their game today to the Angels. The Astros are winning 2-1.
You have seven teams separated by 3 games. And if you're Dan Wilson on the Mariners, the most streamlined approach to the playoffs would be to win the division. The Mariners 4 games back of the Astros, a team they hold the tiebreaker over.
And listen, some of this streaky baseball season, and I've never seen so many 10-game winning streaks in my life, have to do with the schedule. And certain teams weren't very good as you go through. I think the Rays went on a 9-0 West Coast road trip, which is unheard of. But then it's the timing of when you play some of these teams. And September is going to be a fairly, on paper, favorable schedule for the Seattle Mariners to make a move.
Well, the Mariners have to find a way to stay within arm's reach of first place by the time the calendar rolls around to September. It is a gauntlet of a schedule in the month of August, and the Cubs are a big part of that. Inside 3-1 to Rivas. Over the plate, taken all the way for a strike, full count. In August, it is the hardest strength of schedule for any team in baseball. In September, it's the easiest, but of course they have to be relevant enough to be able to go on some type of a heater in September and be able to get back into first place. Pulled sharply fair. This ball racing into the corner. Leo Rivas, who won it in last night's game in 10. He stands up with a double. And he brings a tying run to the plate as the lineup card turns over.
Well, he had the favorable count where he could sell out on a fastball and pull it down the line just by the first baseman and down in the corner. An aggressive hitter at the plate with a chance to get one run closer or tie it. You got to be almost looking breaking ball on the first pitch if you're a Rosarena.
And was that sweeper and a challenge coming
Catch
here
your
from
challenge and call a ball.
He just told him it was 0-1.
Called a return pitch and strike. Chicago has 2 remaining.
Amaya wins that one. He flips it. Strike 1 to a Rosarena. Fly ball, left field hanging up. Happ is there. Ball finds the new guy. 2 outs. Today's Above and Beyond sponsored by Jersey Mike's. The Phillies, who come to Seattle on Monday following this Cubs series, an 8-game winning streak. Meanwhile, Pete Alonso has caught fire, batting .480 with 7 homers in the last, call it, 2 weeks. And yesterday, the Mariners, one of 6 walk-off wins, the most of any day in baseball since 2008.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You're 10 days away. Phillies looking to try to get to that 10-game winning streak. They're chasing down the Atlanta Braves. They've, I think, lowered it down to 3 games or less with that 8-game winning streak.
A power hitter in Dom Canzone at the plate, backing away from that curveball. Facing a righty here in Thornton. One swing ties it up. Canzone having a career year. Inside. Mariners trying to cash in on that 1-out double from Rivas.
I forget which manager told me this, but he ascribes to, if they're winning, they want their challenges to be in the run prevention side. So when they're pitching, he doesn't want their hitters challenging when they're ahead. If it's obviously behind, then he wants the run production side to be challenged on the offensive side and not in the run prevention. So a couple ways to go with how you view your challenges, but ultimately you should have a challenge late. If you're out by the 6th inning, you're at a huge disadvantage.
2-2. Weak ground ball over to second base. Ramirez charges, easy lob, and Trent Thornton fired up his return to T-Mobile Park, facing his former team, and he works around that Rivas double and holds the Mariners off the board. One of the newer members inside the Mariners bullpen, Sir Anthony Dominguez, acquired by Seattle from the White Sox and the Luis Castillo deal. Up on the mound, pitching the 8th. All it takes is listening to the crowd mic to figure out who is batting. Alex Bregman leading things off in this 8th inning. What a run he has been on.
Well, he had been searching for what he calls the feel part of, he just didn't have a feel, and when he gets that feel, he'll make it last, according to his manager Craig Counsell. And of course, high expectations signing him over there, and the power outages were significant early. Not anymore. It looks like he's found that feel, and he's making it last because he's leading baseball in hits since, what is it, June 1st, July? What is?
Yes, it's an earlier point in the summer.
Yeah.
Last 24 games batting .357 with 17 extra base hits. He swings and misses, chasing a fastball up. Not only has he been hot, he's been a major impact player. Our power player, sponsored by Freestyle Libre, in this series. Last night, a home run early that came in the 1st inning, then a home run late that came off Mariners closer Andres Munoz to tie the game in the 9th inning. And then today, part of a big 6th inning game tying blast for Bregman.
A lot of people were wondering what the effect of Wrigley Field was going to have. You think about the 2 stadiums that he played in at home had short porches to the left side of the field where he dominated. And for the most part, it wasn't Wrigley Field that was taking away the power. It was his lack of feel and mechanical connectivity to making the ball jump off his back again.
And Bregman saying earlier this year, not long ago actually, that he actually went back and watched video of himself in Double-A with Corpus Christi, the Astros Double-A affiliate, of course, the organization he came up with. And he went back to look at that to study his swing and felt like he found something that kind of unlocked where he is now. And now I guess that video archive has paid some pretty major dividends for him and for the Cubs. There's another strikeout. Michael Busch goes down swinging, 2 up and 2 down.
Yeah, I think that's what people at home don't understand, the mechanical cues that are so important to a hitter and how they can come and go. And the timing of hitting is just no different than the timing of pitching. You got to have your foot down, and you got to have the bat and hands in a position to let the barrel stay in the middle of the zone. It's the same thing with pitching. If your feet and the timing of your lower half are off, you're going to be off at the distance that you're trying to throw the ball. And so it comes and goes. And I learned from the great one, Greg Maddux, how to sustain a good season when you're going good, how to ride that wave, and how to limit when you're bad games. You know, when you simplify it, it seems easy on paper. Hey, just go 500 in your bad games. You're going to have a great year. And it really is the truth. And same thing at hitting. You know, if you just hit 220 or 250, and then when your hot streaks, you're over 300, you're going to have a great year. And I think people at home just don't understand how hard it is to hit a baseball that you don't know where's it going when it comes out of a pitcher's hand. That swing is perfect to the angle and the launch of what results in damage.
That hit him. Horner hit by a pitch. He reaches for the 2nd time. And we talk all the time about how a player gets out of a rut, but we never talk about how a player sustains a hot streak.
And that's the most missed opportunity for players, because you hear it's easy to say I'm in a zone, but explain it. What does in a zone mean? You're locked in. The ball looks like a beach ball, whatever it is. You have to take notes and take time to recognize when it's going good, what it feels like, just as much as you spend too much time on when it's going bad. You overanalyze, overchange, and you overcorrect. And I think that balance in sports is why the great ones don't have sustained long losing streaks or slumps.
Tyrone Taylor fouls it back.
I mean, I used to kid with Mad Dog and say, how hard is it to pitch when every hitter's 0-2?
Must be pretty easy.
Must be pretty easy, but you got to get to 0-2 to be able to make it that easy. And then there's hitters that go to the plate and it's 0-2 before they start. You know, and it's amazing the mental grind of what goes on through a season and the flows of on top of the world, bottom of, you know, bottom of the barrel.
A pitch out here, don't see that too often. Was Maddox the best at it in terms of amplifying the hot stretches?
Pretty much. I mean, he look, I was having a hard time just having sustained success based on expectation. Everyone thought I should win 20 every year based on my stuff. It became a burden because I wanted to do it myself, but wasn't translating into that success. And then just watching him and watching Maddox or Glavine, you know, you see them like they look like they didn't sweat. They look like it was like that was easy to just locate. And he just had simple things that helped me.
Warner taken off, pitches low, throw, tag, and he is safe.
Catcher challenging the call ball.
Meanwhile, this is being challenged. Cal Raleigh trying to flip this to a strikeout.
Comes over, turn, pitch,
very
strike.
much a strike. So forget about that. Dominguez strikes out the side, able to work around that hit by pitch, and there you have it. To the bottom of the 8th, Cubs have a 2-run lead here in Seattle.
Honey, come here.
And Service get you great savings in Service here. Chicago and Seattle meeting up. 1996 NBA Finals. Bulls taken in 6. Rodriguez on the ground. Corners got it. Routine play. 1 pitch and 1 out. Trent Thornton was back out there for the first man, and he got him easily. There comes Craig Counsell. Lefty Josh Naylor is due up next. Cubs go to the bullpen.
My moderate to...
Our sleeper pick sponsored by Mattress Firm. Kate Anderson, the storyline today. Top pitching prospect in baseball making his major league debut. Number 3 overall pick in the draft last year by the Mariners out of LSU. And some really impressive stuff today from Kate Anderson. Leaving to a standing ovation despite giving up the back-to-back home runs in the 6th to Bregman and Bush. His final line as Anderson has stayed in the dugout the entire time. Josh Naylor, the batter. Ryan Rolison is one of 2 lefties in that Cubs bullpen. He's really pitched in almost every situation this year. Up, down, early, late. Pitching with a 2-run lead here in the 8th inning. On the ground, we've seen this a lot today, and David Peterson, the Cubs starter, a big part of it. So many ground ball outs.
Yeah, for Craig Counsell, for most of the season, he's had so many pitching injuries that he's basically going by bullpen by committee. So he's used guys in so many different situations. I think there's some comfort in that. But boy, oh boy, would he love to get some of those arms. I think he talked about 9 to 11 guys on rehab potentially that could help them come back and use the 2 extra arms in September.
And a blast from the past. Shelby Miller is one of them.
That's amazing.
Miller coming off another Tommy John surgery. The Cubs have used the most pitchers of any team in baseball, 39 of them in total. And it sounds like it's coming out of the hand of Shelby Miller. Pretty hot down there in Iowa, and they're hoping that maybe he might be able to make it back this year for the stretch run.
Well, Palencia has come back, and they're hoping to get him ready for a high leverage role at the end of the season. I mean, the bullpen is so important because we just know that starters don't pitch very often, so that bullpen is being used every day. And you got to have fresh arms and be able to be the team you want to make a long run in the postseason. The Dodgers flipped the script and their formula the year before. They won with their bullpen. Last year, of course, they won with their starters. And they kind of loaded up again with some starters this year.
Big swing and a miss. And Rolison makes quick work of the Mariners. Naylor and Ward. And the Mariners send the minimum to the plate in the 8th. We march on to the 9th. Cubs in front. Top of the 9th inning, Cubs a 3-run 6th has put them in front. They lead it 4-2. Michael Rucker, new pitcher on the mound for Seattle.
I think one of the great storylines and debates that people are going to have a different reason for voting is the MVP in the National League. And the reason I mean that is it's kind of Ohtani fatigue, meaning the numbers are close offensively. He's still dominant half a season on the mound. You cannot take that away from him, but I think they're going to, just because he's superhuman.
Ramirez pops this up. Weston Wilson is right there.
Like, where would you land a plane if the offensive numbers are the same? And I know there's great defense by PCA, but how do you discount the 8-2 and the 1.79 ERA? That's stupid.
Well, yeah, it's which side of the scale do you land on, right? Which is more valuable? That pitching, he has not pitched since the early days of July, although he did throw today. Or do you value more Pete Crow Armstrong, an elite defender, a tremendous base runner, and just simply one of the most impactful everyday players in baseball? I think you can make the case he is the most impactful right now.
Yeah, that's the intrigue, though, because you know, when you think about winning 8 games and impacting your team on the mound to however many wins they won in that game, versus the only way you can measure an everyday player is by that defense and offensive numbers. So the offensive numbers are the same for Ohtani and PCA. You would almost have to think that his defense has won more games than an arm on the mound, which I know is hard to quantify. But I'm just telling you, it's going to be Ohtani fatigue more so than how great PCA is having a season, which he is completely having. If Ohtani never threw on the mound, 100% it's PCA's right now. That's what's going to be an intriguing MVP race till we get down to the end.
Second time up for Ian Happ. Does he go? No, he doesn't. Michael Rucker, by the way, the former Cub draft pick, facing his former organization, made his major league debut with Chicago. Parts of 3 seasons with the Cubs. Made nearly 100 appearances for Chicago out of their bullpen. Three and 2. Happ strikes out. 2 up and 2 down. Today's Bank of America game summary. Cade Anderson in his anticipated major league debut, 5 2/3. Baseball's top pitching prospect. Meanwhile, David Peterson, 6 really good innings. Arozarena the home run on the very first pitch of the ball game. But Bregman and Bush back to back in the 6th off of Anderson to take the lead for Chicago. Ball 1 to Amaya. Now Bregman 3 home runs in these first 2 games in Seattle. Game tying shot in the 6th today. Two 2-0.
Pretty clear cut in American League. Jordan Alvarez. Triple crown, maybe.
It's been amazing.
He's been healthy.
He's been healthy.
That's the reason the Astros, I think, are even in the mix when you think what they've lost.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Would be the first in the American League since Miguel Cabrera. 2 and 2. PCA would bat next. This has popped up. Right side of the infield. Naylor is there. and makes the squeeze. Now the former Cub Michael Rucker retires his side in order. It is on to the bottom of the 9th inning. Jacob Webb with that swing and miss stuff, getting set to try to record the final 3 outs in this one. IndyCar races through the heart of Washington, D.C., celebrating America's 250th. The Freedom 250 coverage begins tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, only on Fox. Jacob Webb, having a fantastic year, is up on the mound here in the bottom of the 9th inning. It is wild. You look at all the wins this year for the Cubs, second in the division, top wild card team, and they do not have a reliever with double-digit saves.
Yeah, that's what's amazing about just their year. I mean, what they've dealt with and where they are, they got to feel great if they can get half their guys back.
It's a 2-run game. Cal Raleigh leads it off. A big swing and a miss for strike 1. Webb pitched a scoreless 9th yesterday. Cal Raleigh did not face him in that game. Well off the plate, ball 1. Now this is not a Cubs bullpen that has a ton of swing and miss. In fact, their whole pitching staff, rotation and bullpen, not a real big strikeout pitching staff, but that is something that Webb provides. Popped up. Horner making sure everybody stays clear, back pedals and makes the catch. 1 away. Gold Glove second baseman, moonlighting over a shortstop for the time being, with Dansby Swanson on the injured list.
Did you enlighten me on the can of corn? You know, when they say that's a can of corn,
You should enlighten me.
I'm trying to think if it's just like reaching up to get a can of corn, you know, like catching a pop-up. I think that's what it was told to me. I really don't know the origin behind it, but somebody was.
Have you ever considered workshopping your ideas before running them out on live television?
No, that's the beauty of it. It's an open discussion.
A strike. Well, this was a game thick with storylines. From Kate Anderson's debut to the Mariners trying to, well, win as many series as they can the rest of the way to vault back into first place. Young out to straightaway right field. And the Cubs sizzling offense, which we have seen on full display today, especially in that 3-run 6th inning. And now Chicago 1 out away from evening this series. Now Rosarena, the home run of the very first pitch the Mariners saw today. Well, the Mariners just 1 run since then. That was on an RBI fielder's choice from Dom Canzone in the 5th inning. Strike 1 to Weston Wilson. This is a shot out to the gap in right center field, and this ball touches down and finds the base of the wall. Wilson is into second base, so the Mariners' heartbeat still alive in the 9th inning. Multi-hit day for Weston Wilson.
Good piece of hitting right there. 2 good outfielders with a lot of speed couldn't catch up to that one in the gap.
Well, it was Leo Rivas who won it in 10 innings last night for the Mariners. Can he keep this game going here in the 9th inning? Mariners down to their final out. Lands it for a strike. Soft fly ball, dropping, base hit. Weston Wilson pedals home, and Leo Rivas brings the Mariners within a run. A 2-out RBI single in the 9th inning.
I'll tell you what, this would have been interesting if there was a throw at the plate, but he did not want to make that throw to allow Rivas to go to second base. But I thought he got to this ball in plenty of time to have a throw at home, and he chose not to and keep the runner at first.
Well, all of a sudden, the winning run is at the plate. Strike one to Arozarena. Mariners down to their final out. Fly ball. This is tagged. Center field. PCA can't get it. What has happened in Seattle? Randy Arozarena bookends the day with home runs and walks it off in 9. The Mariners take down the Cubs. Dairy Queen delivering the win. Randy Arozarena, who homered on the game's first pitch, homers on the game's last pitch, and fittingly hits it right over a man who did that recently, PCA. And the Mariners walk it off again.
You will never know what starts a season streak and makes them relevant. It could very be this game. 2 outs in the 9th and nobody on. Down by 2 in a season that has not gone very well for the Mariners. Remember this game if they make the playoffs.
Just incredible. Arozarena, 2 home runs, robbed another one. And the Mariners win it. They walk it off against Chicago for the 2nd straight game. Just amazing.
I mean, this is wow. Wow.
Arozarena wins it for the Mariners. Coming up after the break, we'll send you back to the studio with Kevin Burkhardt and Eric Carroll. Still have a moment to soak this one in and get a little reaction. For John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer, our entire Fox Sports crew, I'm Aaron Goldsmith. Man, what a wild one today in Seattle. Mariners win it.